What's going on, folks? My name is Matthew, aka EZBOT, and we're back with another live stream. We do this every Tuesday. Live hardware, electronic music, made for you fresh, with a bunch of Electron gear, as well as some modular and MA tracker and what have you. So if you like that kind of stuff, come on by, visit the channel more often. Today I wanted to talk a bit about keeping kind of like a minimal setup and trying to stay focused on particular pieces of equipment. Make it so I can see my chat here. Cool. So what I have brought with me on the table today is something that we've done before on the stream, but I'm revisiting it because I really enjoy the process. And I'll just show it to you really quick. So we're going to be working with the Labyrinth, which I have in an IntelliGel 62 HP case, and I haven't used in a little while, so I'm a little bit rusty, but for the most part, I'm already getting the sounds that I liked from it in the first place. And I'm running that into my interface, which is running it anywhere I need it to go, but it's running it back into my Digitact. As well as I actually have in the background Ableton, not only recording this stream, but actually able to take my audio and run it back into the Digitact. So if I wanted to grab like Serum 2 or my voice and process it in some way, I can actually sample that into my Digitact. So just taking advantage of having a good workflow and a good signal chain. What else we have here is the Digatone 2, which I love to death. And we have Octatrack Mark II, which all of these boxes are now so much more expensive. It's ridiculous. Digitact's like almost $1,300 after tax. And or after multiple taxes, just outrageous. But besides that, let's not talk about that. What I also want to mention is that I'm using this version of a performance template in the Octatrack, and if you're not familiar with the Octatrack performance templates that I make these cool performance templates. They do effects processing. Fun DJ effects. What this particular template is, and it's only available on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/EZBOT. It's not available anywhere else. But what this template has is it has 8 banks of Performance Mixer 3.0B, which is a DJ effects template, and then it has 9 banks of hyper effects, which is this. Wait, let me get this going. Oh, it's moving too quickly. Sorry. We'll stick with the Performance Mixer 3.0B right now. But this is something you can find on the Patreon, which has the HyperFX template and the Performance Mixer template merged together. There are some things that I'm still working out on here, so that's why it's on Patreon only. It's because I'm constantly updating these effects. But what we want to focus on today is the Labyrinth and sampling it into my Digitact 2. And that's already what this sound is right here. And what I love about it is that it just makes these great rhythms like this, and we can just grab them and throw them into the Digitact. And we talked about this last week when we were using the a larger modular system. My dog's running around with phones in here. We're using a larger modular system, and the whole idea is that you need to have a sampler. This is like my opinion of my workflow in general. If you're going to do hardware electronic music, you need to have a good sampler. And what you want to do is sample your instruments in your studio and then put them in your sampler, and then you can mess with them from there. But if you don't have a sampler, then you're just making sounds and they just kind of go away. You don't get to use them again unless you record it into your DAW. But if you're a hardware producer without a sampler, you're definitely on the struggle bus, right? And you're not going to get very much use out of a lot of your gear. So collecting lots and lots of synthesizers and Eurorack modules and whatnot, they don't amount to nearly as much. They're fun to play with. They're fun to have in your collection. They're nice to look at. They're fun to share and pass along to your friends and lend out to your friends and stuff like that, which is stuff I like to do. But if I actually want to get use out of my gear, I need to have a sampler. And so I'm going to continue to harp on that concept on this channel until I'm done doing whatever I'm doing now. I'm just never going to stop saying, get yourself a sampler, get really familiar with your sampler. That being said, you got to pick one that's good for you. I love using the Dig Attack 2 now that it's just samples in stereo. This is a great sampler to use. I also like using the MA Tracker. The Polygon stuff is great for that. MPC stuff is great for that. OPXY, maybe this is good for it too. I don't know. I keep trying to get into the workflow. I'm struggling with that. Okay, so basically what I wanted to do today is I'm playing another show this month in Portland, so I'm going back down to Portland to play a show. I have some music. I have enough music that I was able to play a show in Portland already, so I know I have enough music to go and play a show. My set ended up being, I went through it kind of quickly because we had somebody who, we had some other artists playing that were running out of time, and so I like forsaked 5 minutes of my set or so, 10 minutes of my set to give to the next artist to play because I really don't mind. It was a Modbang event, which is something I help host. And, but I had enough time there, but it was still like, I still was kind of pushing the end of my set at about like 25 minutes of hardware. And typically hardware shows are a little bit shorter when it comes to the performers. It's not often that they're playing for a long time, depending on the kind of music they're making. If you're doing improv techno in hardware, then yeah, I could see you playing a couple hours with your hardware set. Like if you have an improv set up with your modular system and you're using like a Oxy 1 or Oxy 1 Mark II now, you can have a really great time just playing forever because you're just constantly coming up with iterative ideas of the same idea over and over again, but it's just slightly different every time, and you're just, you know, changing some sounds around, but you're mostly kind of sitting in the same pocket, in my opinion. It's often the same kind of sounds, even in those setups. So without you having like a lot of prepared material, there's still room for more processing, I think, even when it comes to like improv techno. And so I like to write a lot of music so that I have a lot to choose from. And often my workflow has been that I just keep writing new songs. I keep adding them to the existing set, until I have like tons and tons and tons of music. And then I select tracks from my existing set and build a set around that. And so I'll be like, all right, I'm playing a show. They're like, you have a 45-minute spot. And I'll go, okay, I'm going to take this song, this song, this song, this song, this song. I'm going to play them in this order. And then I practice that set order. And that's what I practice before I go into a show. So now I've kind of erased a lot of the music that I've had, or not erased. I've erased it from my current Dig Attack, and it's on my old Dig Attack, and on my computer. And now I want to write some new music. I really like a minimal style sound, and I like being able to do improv stuff where I get to kind of like make a pattern stretch for as long as possible. And I found what's really great for doing that, again, is doing more of a techno-styled theme when it comes to my improv stuff. It's hard to improv on other genres. Some genres don't let you do that. Unless you're like a great jazz piano player and you just know that you can just keep recreating the same formula but switching out passing chords and stuff like that, then maybe you could do it in those genres too. But as far as the hardware electronic music goes, it's a lot easier to do the improv vibe in a techno style. So I grabbed the Moog Labyrinth for that exact reason, because it's an extremely useful synthesizer for generating fun patterns. And not only can you just take this synthesizer, put it in your Dig Attack, put it into your samplers, record those, you know, messing abouts or whatever, record your little ditties that you've made on here, ditty, but you can also use it as a device to play live. So that's kind of what I want to do now. Is I'm gonna mess around with this. We're gonna play with the Happy Nerding Effects Aid, which is the only effect that I have here. But we also have reverb and delay and chorus on the Dig Attack itself, so we have some additional effects. There's a whole bunch of algorithms in here. I haven't edited them, so I will be just like pressing buttons, going through them, looking for stuff that I'm after, and trying to make some music out of that. So one of the questions is, do I want to tune this oscillator? We can tune the oscillator because I have a little tiny scope in here, the little zero scope by IntelliJ. I've had this for a long time. It's a really cool module. It's fun to have it on YouTube because people can see the waveform, but it's also just fun as a performer to watch this bounce around as you're playing live. It's an entertaining thing, and we are just easily entertained creatures, I think. But also to use it as a tuner, I believe we push down and then go into tune. And if I want to use this and tune this, I should be able to... What would be the best way to do that? I honestly don't know. Oh, these are my scales. That's right. Okay. I'm still trying to remember how I want to do this, but I guess if I didn't have the CV range turned up, would it just play the same note? You can hear what it's doing. It's not doing much. It was mostly using these weird delays, this like 4-minute delay. Let's play with this for just 1 second without the drums. Okay, I just remembered. Okay, so EG1 goes to the filter, EG2 is the VCA. guess the easiest way to deal with tuning when it comes to this is to just make a riff that is just playing one note like this, and then dial it in from there. Okay, we got to design our own patch from scratch here, I think. Just clear it out. And we don't need it to be poly. Make it mono legato. I think that'd be cool. We have an LFO move that, kind of like a like an envelope to it, basically. I know that it already has an envelope, but the envelope is what I want is something to trigger that. So I'm going to use an envelope to, I think it's A level, right? That's what I was looking at. Yeah. So we'll use retrig mode, trig. And I'll use the shape of an envelope, and then we'll mess with this to see how we want to get that in. Ooh, it's actually a pretty good bass sound. Let's move this. What? Sometimes I'm just like, do I know what I'm doing? Right now it sounds like I do, but I didn't feel like I did for a second. Oh, listen how nasty that sounds. fun. I don't have to know anything at all to have a good time doing that. That seems too easy. Every time that I sit down with this, no matter where I put the Labyrinth and what case I choose to put it into, I just need to know a little bit, just enough to get this thing like kind of tuned, or like kind of like tuned to the track in terms of rhythm and some of the timbre, but most of the sounds sound good. And then the rest of it's just kind of a piece of cake. Let me talk a little bit about this workflow that I have going on over here, and something I need to continue on. So we have this bass line. We made this patch from scratch in 2 seconds on the Digiton. It sounds great. It's a super simple thing, this patch, but it does sound really good, and it actually has a bit of an analog timbre to it, which is not always easy to achieve on a digital synthesizer or an FM-based synthesizer. Sounds great, but what we need is a second version of the bass line. So I'm actually going to copy the track sequence and go to the one below it, because my workflow is this. My workflow is when one row plays, the other row doesn't play, specifically for techno production. So the bass line is happening here. So what we want to do is take that, go here, paste it, go back up here, copy the sequence, go here and paste it. And now we're going to iteratively change this one. So maybe we remove a step, maybe add a step, and then add some more notes. Copy that. Really like it if that note would play for me. Would help if I'm looking at the right track. Like some sort of genius over here. Yo, what did Moog bring to Superbooth? That's what I want to know. That one sound. Where is it? I guess it's that one. You know what I really need? And this just clicked in my head. And I need to use something like... It doesn't need to be plugged in right now for me to show you. I need to use something like the roto control for just my dig attack and have it sitting here like this. And, hang on, what's going on here? That's not supposed to look like that. Have this here and have these knobs connected to my incoming audio effects so that I'm just like reverb, delay on this stuff coming in here. So when my modular's coming in, the Labyrinth is coming in here, this is controlling that. That makes sense. It's like I've been trying to figure out like, what do I want to do with this? Because I could have a row set up to be like the audio for all tracks. And then you hit a button here, it switches, this gets overtaken with the next row. So it goes bam down to this one. Pretty useful, especially when I'm doing this workflow that splits these two concepts. I think that that's a really good idea. Use this controller, have it separate these two elements, then I can bring drums in and out with fades, but I can also bring effects in and out on another row and maybe sit on the effects section. So I have like a master performance section that's like controlling the incoming effects plus what? What else would I use it to control? The incoming effects and then track volumes? And then these are mutes? I already have mutes here. I don't need to do that. What do these do? Besides have dog hair all over them. So many MIDI controllers. Oh, that's what I needed to tune it. Use the trigger button. Genius. Anticlimactic as hell. God damn it. That's nice. The reverbs in the Happy Nerding FX8 are outrageous. Listen to that. Simple module. I have 3 of these things. Okay. We totally have to duck this to the kick here. Let's do it. So let's go function, compressor, routing, and untake everything out of the compressor, only route the incoming audio, and then actually go to the compressor, and let's target, we don't need the sidechain filter, target track 1 for our sidechain source, and then we'll mess with this and try and make it sound nice. We don't need any gain. Oh, I forgot. I can only target one drum at a time, so let's switch over here. Sponsor me, Polar. nasty. I wish that this could pick up the note. Why can't I hit this at the same? Ah, yeah. Test something. Hell yeah. Damn, I'm starting to get this dialed in now. Takes a while. What up, Seattle? Every single time. Every single time that I bring the Labyrinth out, this little micro case, it's so simple. It's just the Labyrinth and an effects processor, a multi-effect that I can move between. What I really need is like, I guess I should put this in the big case that has like all the effects, so I can just like turn this effect up, turn this effect down, turn this effect up, turn this effect down, and like have a bunch of different algorithms of like different effects aids going, so I can switch between algorithms and kind of mess with that. Ridiculous. getting lost for sure. I haven't even done any sampling yet. I guess you don't always need to sample. Maybe I'm wrong. No. I think it'd be a good idea to sample some stuff. Let's see. Yes. My other chord. That's 7. Dawless folk. My instrument of choice. Click. What's going on? How's everybody doing? I haven't really gotten to check in. This has been a pretty great session so far. I haven't even sampled anything yet. I've just been so into the jam, and maybe that's really where I want to be anyway. That's like, you know, you're in the pocket when that happens. I think like you're so one with the tune. This happens to me a lot when I'm working on the MA tracker, where I just like vanish into the machine itself and I can't really be taken out of it. And it's just like, it's a really sweet place to go to. And so much music gets made there. Like music gets finished there. I feel like what we're doing here with this workflow would be, maybe I will bring this to my next show. just got to keep it in tune. Wish I had like a tune locking button on the Labyrinth. That'd be really nice. But maybe this is something where you just record the stereo output and you just chop up chunks and release chunks as sets or as songs. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a lot of people's workflow. But I don't know. I don't know if it's the right workflow. What's up, Blake? Tone Smith. Seek. Jeff, what's up? Drop the tempo to 100. You want to hear the tempo drop to 100? That was asked 50 minutes ago. Let's see what happens. I mean, it sounds cool. Sounded pretty good at that tempo. Sounds almost like a Meshuggah riff. That would be that's a sick comparison. Moog is bringing the prototype cow module. In light of the success of the TE's CWO filter, InMusic is happy to present their hubris to super. Funny. Wait, they're not. That's not really true, is it? Module. Do you mean a Eurorack module by Moog? Because that is not something they do anymore. Not in a long time. Really? I mean, if Moog got into Eurorack, that'd be great. I mean, besides the Mavis, I guess that's the Eurorack module. But you're live in Montpellier. On Montpellier. Montpellier. I don't know. I'll give you 5. Thanks. Cowbell module. The overkill of putting a Mother 32 and a Palette 62 just for the 1U row. It's not a Mother 32, it's a Labyrinth, but I understand what you're saying, and I don't think it's overkill. I think the case that comes with the Labyrinth, the Moog Skiff case, is not ideal. I like flat. I do all of my stuff I like to have flat. For one, it's for camera stuff because I'm teaching online a lot, but also for YouTube, and just for me, I just like it. I like it better. I don't like this whole like tilt your hands up like this. Doesn't feel good. I already get carpal tunnel. Could you map one of the buttons on the control? Can you map the control alt button? No, you can't. No, control alt, like the track button is not a CC message. If you could, if there was CCs for every button on Electron, then yeah, we could totally do some crazy stuff. What you could do, potentially, going back to this conversation from earlier in the stream, if you were to take something like Roto Control, it doesn't matter, MIDI controller, any MIDI controller, and you map it to the macro in Digitact or Digatone, then you could potentially come up with these ideas, but it'd still only be 4 spots. So, yeah. It's not a bad idea. What up? Just hopped on recently. Nice to have you. Yes, I'm jamming. Stream is always great. Tuesday afternoon work soundtrack. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Been reading the Virus TI tutorial programming guide today. Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. Not at all. Although I do think the Virus is a great sounding synthesizer. Seems like there's a lot of polyrhythms going on, which is amazing. There's some polyrhythms going on the Digatone. I keep going back and forth about doing this. Like if you use if you turn the reset to infinity and then you set your change to the level that you want to have change, you can do true polymetric sequencing. The issue is that the Digatone has trouble receiving program change if it doesn't have the same master reset as the Digitact. And if they're both set to have no master reset and just use the change, the Digatone doesn't get the change until the second pattern. So playing live becomes frustrating, to say the least. And that's where I'm at with these songs. Hold on, keep this thing up. Like, this is one of my songs from my set. And it's using the master changes. Same with this track. Same idea. does sound cool at 100 BPM. We're at 145 though. How nice is that when it just comes in and out? So if I record this, I could do that. I could have it fade in and out, because over here I don't have an LFO that'll do that consistently. Because there is no LFO. There's no LFO. You have to use oscillator 2 as your LFO. It just says low. That's lazy. Let's record it. Okay. We will record 2 bars. Input. Okay, good. What's with the silence right there? I guess a lot of the cool sounds were the actual effects on the Digitakt itself. Which is just fine. That's fine. We'll add those. I think that works. Let's save it. It's a cool sound. Labyrinth. Whatever, we'll use 2 Bs. And I guess I'll put you on 16. Triggered for 16 steps. Let's turn this off. We could use a filter to do it. That'd actually probably sound really nice if the filter just opened and closed. Multi-mode. Set this real slow. Close the filter. And let this open. Nice move. a nice sound. didn't hit the button. Super sick. Damn, I love this thing. This is my favorite thing that I've used by Moog. I haven't used the Moog Muse yet, but this is my favorite. That's like the amount of fun you can have, the improv with this is really brilliant. It's a brilliantly crafted device. It sounds great. It uses their classic ladder filter, has a wave folder in it, which is cool to see Moog's adding stuff like wave folders to their stuff. Much more West Coast compared to their typical East Coast stuff. And it's got a bit of that subharmonicon vibe. I feel like I would really like to get a subharmonicon. I wish that they made this case, but another layer down. Not a layer long, but this direction. Because I don't want it to be longer. I just want it to be fatter, like a black hole case. Or maybe I should get a black hole case instead of this case, because all I'm using with this is the mute. It is nice that it has the balanced outputs, because not all cases have balanced outputs. You usually have to buy a module for that, which is, can be really annoying to do that. But yeah, suggestion: use a keyframe frequency. What are you talking about, YouTube? Beat it. I want to show something off too. I made this awesome bass patch on my M8. And I want to show it off because I think it's right here. Yeah. Listen to that. This is made with the M8 Tracker's wave synth. It's just a wavetable, just finding the right spot in a wavetable. It looks like this. Quite a bit of modulation going on. Am I using a table? No. But if I could use a table and get like add vibrato to this so we get some little detune stuff. How good does that sound? The bass patch is just off the chain. My goal is to make some like Justice-inspired tunes on the tracker. I've been trying to do that for a while. It's hard to do without getting a bunch of vocal samples and chopping them up and putting them in there. I think next week I might be bringing out, well, next week we're going to be doing some modular on the channel because I got the Hermod expander on its way here now. It arrives tomorrow, and I'm excited to put that. And maybe I'll take this out of this case and put it with the Hermod expander along with like one other voice. I don't know what other voice to use. I really want some like distortion modules in Eurorack that don't cause some like noisy interference type stuff. And that can be really annoying to me. So like on the topic of what the stream title was called is you don't have to use all of your gear. And I really do mean that. I find that I like collecting gear and I can find a good use for my gear if I am taking it one at a time and pairing it with my like workhorses. Like I'm pairing it with my Digitact and pairing it with my Digatone, which is really great now at sequencing external stuff, things that don't have sequencers, things that I want to put chords into. This new chord operation that they have in the Digatone 2 is really great for that. It's still too bad that they don't arpeggiate from the MIDI channels in the Digatone 2, which is still totally bizarre to me. I don't understand why. I think we all don't understand why. And honestly, I still am having a couple of bugs in my Digatone 2. That being said, you can use the affiliate links down below and buy yourself one, and you can enjoy the bugs that I enjoy. But I love the sound of it, and I think it's a great device. For whatever reason, the Syntact, always flawless. Digitact, always flawless. Digatone, always got some stuff. Always got a little something going on in it, where I'm like, what is going on with you? You're not receiving program change, or your voices are all being stolen by nothing, by some ghost stealing voices. There's always something. But I can't stop using it because it's one of the best things they've ever made. But still, very frustrating. What's up, Michael? Mycorrhiza. Were you sequencing the Labyrinth from the Electron? No, I'm just sending clock and transport from the Electron. I mean, the best part about the Labyrinth is the sequencer that's built into it, the polymetric sequencers. Without this thing doesn't do anything. Like, its value is that it has the polymetric sequencers. But sending clock and transport over to it, never a bad idea. At all. This is Labyrinth doing bass lines. What a fun jam today. This has been awesome. It's actually turned out really great. I might have to chop this into like something and throw it on SoundCloud. I don't know. I might want to listen to this again. That was pretty cool. There's really something special about polymetric sequencing and kind of just like random generated triggers in scale that just let you have so much fun. It's just a good time. Like techno production was something that I had zero interest in 10 years ago. Absolutely none, because I had this preconceived notion that it was something that it wasn't. I didn't understand what it was, let's put it that way. And now that I've gotten into this place where I do understand it, and I enjoy creating impacts and creating drama and the sound design of it and finding these like weird rhythms and these weird tonalities that are just so unnatural but really interesting to listen to, especially in stereo with some good effects. I really enjoy the whole concept of the production. It's not even necessarily that I want to listen to it like driving in my car or something. I'm still preferring to listen to like a singer-songwriter type music. That's the stuff that I really enjoy as well and grew up listening to and performing. But I enjoyed this process of sitting down and making this more than I do sitting down and writing singer-songwriter music at this stage of my life. Like this to me is more entertaining because I feel like I guess it's just, it is entertaining. Like there's something entertaining happening here with all the devices, with bringing elements in and out and the drama. It's not something that I can build on my own with just me and an electric guitar. Even if I have a looper pedal and I'm well versed in a looper pedal, I can't create as much drama as I can with a couple of electron boxes and a little semi-modular synth. You know, just speaking in terms of drama and tension. There's just something special about this experience and sitting down with this gear. That being said, the cost of all of this stuff is going up exponentially, which totally sucks because I like buying new stuff. I like getting excited. Superbooth is here and all this new stuff is coming out. It's getting me excited. And now I'm like, you know, do I buy something? Do I wait? You know, what's the used market going to look like? Is the used market going to match the not used market? You know, the new market? And is it going to be like what the old new stuff was is now what the used price was? And it's like, that's irritating. I don't know. But this has been a good time, and I'm glad to have some people hanging out while we do this and just make some jams. And I'll chop this down into something more digestible for a video. And so for those of you who are just tuning in and you don't want to watch an hour and a half long of jamming, you can watch 10 minutes long of jamming. My name is Matthew, aka EZBOT, and this has been a live stream. And if you'd like to support this channel, you can visit patreon.com/EZBOT and join the Patreon. That's where you'll find these performance templates. And expect an update on the combo template, because in the beginning of the stream I was showing it off and I found a bug. And so I need to fix that bug in the combo template and get that back out. Merging template performance templates on the Octatrack is not something the Octatrack likes. The way that I build the templates is it eats up like every single thing the Octatrack can do. Like, I don't know if there's anything that pushes the Octatrack to the limits as much as these performance templates that I make for the Octatrack. It is not, I guess, designed to do what I'm doing with it. I mean, it's designed to do it because it's doing it, but I mean, it needs a little bit more CPU. It really could use a little bit more CPU and some new effects on it. But anyway, merging the templates can be a pain in the butt. So just keep that in mind when you're downloading these merged concepts that I'm coming up with. This one is Performance Mixer 3 with the HyperFX template. And for whatever reason, when I loaded my HyperFX template in this project, it's using the wrong scale for stuff. Oh, wait a second. I wonder if it's because... Let me see. Studio mode? No, we got that right. Why are these Q levels down? That's why. Well, that's partly why. These track levels are supposed to be silent, and their Q level is supposed to be like this. This makes no sense why it did that. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Always stuff to figure out on the Octatrack, you know what I mean? Too much stuff to figure out with this demon box. Let me say something really quick. Hang on. Hang with me for 1 second. If I reload it... Bank 1, pattern 1. Oh, there we go. Why was this one? Why is that one not working? See, that's bizarre. Why would just one part not be working, but all the other parts be working? What is happening on that part? I want to know. Now that part's working? Because of the camera gremlins? It's true. Let's see if we go to a different bank if it works. Yeah. performance mixer. I have no idea. I have no idea. Seems like it works. Seems like it's working fine. I have no clue. You know what happened, which is weird, and this is just a weird thing, so I don't think I did anything. I think something weird happened. I'll tell you. I was using Roto Control, and I was sending out a CC from Roto Control that controls the slider on the Octatrack. And ever since I did that, it froze my Octatrack, and then it destroyed that project that I was doing it on. Unrecoverable. I have not been able to fix it. And then ever since then, I've just been having this weird bug that's just been coming and going. I don't think it's the Roto Control's fault. I think it's the Octatrack's fault, struggling with MIDI messages as per usual. But yeah, weird stuff. But anyway. Get the template. It's on the Patreon, so it's fun to play with. And report any bugs to me. So if you're currently on patreon.com/EZBOT, you can download the Performance Mixer combo, which has got this DJ effects template for banks 1 through 8, and then it has the hyper effects templates through banks 9 through 16. I would love for people to test it out and tell me if they come across the same weird issue that I just did and solved by doing nothing. I didn't do anything to solve it. Maybe I should have just tried reloading my part. That's probably what I should have done. I bet if I reloaded the part, it would have just worked. Anyway, I would love to have some feedback on that, and on also some combo templates that you'd like to see. Otherwise, there's some affiliate links down in the description below if you want to buy some gear. No extra cost to you. They throw me a couple of bucks for you doing that, and it helps put food on the table, buy us diapers, stuff like that. And I would appreciate it big time. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time, next Tuesday, for another jam, and play with some modular. We're going to play with that new Hermod expander and see what happens when we have tons of CV in our Eurorack that we can control with a very similar sequencer to Electron. So looking forward to that. I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for hanging out.